The federal government has approved a 5.6 billion naira contract for the maintenance of the terminal buildings at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and Port Harcourt International Airport. 14.2 billion naira has also been approved for the completion of the new terminal buildings and perishable cargo at Enugu and Asaba Airport. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, made this known at a media briefing after a meeting of the Federal Executive Council.
To ensure that all infrastructure is being maintained and so that they will remain as they are, perhaps even more improved with regular maintenance. And the other one is approval for the award of contract for the procurement of L3 X-ray machine parts and maintenance support services. This is also to do with maintenance in the sum of 469,679,484 naira. And lastly, procurement and maintenance of 100 units, check-in counters, weighing scales, and spare parts at Murtala Mohammed Airport and Abuja.
Ministry of Works and Housing presented one memorandum today to Council for the award of contract for the rehabilitation of the 118.9 kilometer Kefi Nasarawa Tutu Road in Nasarawa State for 36.130 billion naira.
The International Energy Agency, IEA, will release 120 million barrels of oil to ease prices, half of which would come from the United States, while other IEA members would provide the rest, a Bloomberg reporter said on Twitter. The U.S. contribution will be a part of the 180 million barrels that President Joe Biden has already announced, the reporter said, citing unidentified sources. And oil prices reclaimed in the previous session. This is after consuming nations announced a huge release of oil from emergency reserves to offset supply lost from Russia. Brent crude futures climbed 1.3% to $102.39 a barrel earlier, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 1.2% to $97.41 a barrel. European Union diplomats failed to approve on Wednesday new sanctions against Russia proposed by the European Commission, as technical issues needed to be addressed, including on whether a ban on coal would affect existing contracts. Oil prices are increasing, and as the war continues, Putin insists on paying for gas through rubles. We will be turning our attention on these and other matters of the Russia-Ukraine war as it relates to the economy. We have in the studio Professor of Accounting and Finance, Mohammed Akaro Mainoma, who is a former Vice Chancellor of Nasarawa State University, KEFI, and Nasarawa State. Thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
Great. So perhaps we start by you speaking to us. The European Union failed to issue a sanction yesterday. Did it come as a surprise to you? Did you expect that?
Yeah, it is really a big surprise. The leadership of EU should be willing to have blood on its hand of innocent citizens. I say this because people are being killed, but they are concerned about economic interests. They should go the maximum sanctions. That is my view. That is the only way the war could end. So long as they are not going to the jugular of Russia, we will not have the end of this war. They should make it impossible for Russia to be making earnings, so that at the end of the day, once they have the capacity to prosecute the war will continue. Russia should be isolated from economic activities of the world to the point that they should not be able to generate income that will enable them execute the war. The individual sanctions, the economic sanctions, the restrictions on media, and the rest of these small sanctions are not enough until they go for what I call maximum sanction, including that swift payment system to be blocked. That way we will have something that is near to making the war to cease.
But can the world actually pursue this and survive it, considering the fact that the West still relies heavily on gas supplies from Russia? The IEA, yes, is saying that they are bringing in more, they're going to release more reserves. The US is saying they're releasing more from the reserves. Will that address the gaps? Already smaller EU countries are already running out of stock.
No, certainly, you see, in positions of war, nobody is a winner. So people will have to make these sacrifices for the survival of humanity. And that is the core matter. So when people are dying, you should be able to make little sacrifices in terms of economic earnings or in terms of welfare to ensure that the death is reduced. That is the position. So whatever little hardship we are going to go through for the next 1-2 months, let it be that Russia is made to face the consequence of killing people.
Okay, so what will be the lessons, the economic lessons for Africa in all of this?
The economic lessons to me, for Africa and all of this is surround living within our means. That is to say that we should be able to agree that it is what we are producing that we should live on. The issue of importation of certain goods and services from other places should be reduced so that in events like this, you can still survive without depending on other nations to give you certain commodities. It is also important that the level of education and skill development should be enhanced. That you don't need to say that there are certain things that you rely solely on some other people. And also the advantages of relief programs should be taken in situations like this. Africans should be able to say that, okay, that we have witnessed some of these things before, and there is the need to learn from the kind of things that happened in the past. And also the issue of debts, debt repayment, debt receipts are matters also that Africans must learn from. That the moment you are continuing to accumulate debts, then you know that it will reach a point that you may not be able to survive economic conditions of the world. It is also important that we increase the level of emergency funds that we have, so that in situations like this, we will be able to what they call saving for the rainy days, so that when the rain comes, then you know that you will have something to rely on. There is also the need to reduce spendings on things that are not essential, so that you can make some level of investment that will make you generate an income within, that you don't need to rely on certain other external considerations.
Okay, so in the coming days, we're going to have the World Bank and the IMF, of course, at the spring meetings. And already ahead of that meeting, both bodies have identified this issue between Russia and Ukraine as a stumbling block for the global recovery growth. That's the global economy. And are already seeing that the year 2022 will not meet earlier growth projections. Where is Africa in all of this under Nigeria?
Yeah, the problem with Africa and Nigeria is centered around the issue of a drop tariff. And that will mean that there will be low cost of goods. And that will enhance the productive capacity of our nation. if all the things that they are putting in place comes true, there will be increased access to goods and services. That you'll find out that once it is something that is within the confines of an envelope, that once some other people are not producing, some others will be producing to meet the desires. So, and that will also translate to reduce poverty. Since the level of productive activities within the economy will increase, the level of income will be enhanced. So you'll find that the level of poverty will be reduced. There is also going to be enhanced competitiveness for firms within the nation that are producing these goods and services. And that will also, to some level, reduce the cost of production. And that will mean reducing cost of labor. Also, there will be trade improvement within, and that will also translate to increase GDP for our economies.
Okay, so what will be the role of the private sector in ensuring that all these happen?
It is to up their games, that there are opportunities that are coming up. So the private sector must ensure that they take advantage of this increased economic activities that is coming as a result of some others' inability to make production.
So are we going to say it's a perfect opportunity for the AFCFTA?
Definitely.
Okay. I must thank you, Professor, for coming on the program this morning and sharing your time with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So we're moving straight to Surviving COVID-19 series.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
COVID, as we all know, took a huge toll on business. In as much as one of our major business flagship here is video conferencing, online collaboration, and all, but it is a new frontier. Nigerians initially didn't believe in working from home. It was something that wasn't really a thing here in the country. So at first, it really hit us because we had projects off-site by clients who, first of all, their businesses were closed. So funding was a huge issue. Access to the site was another issue. In fact, we had a digitization project that had to be delayed for a full year. But then towards the end of the COVID period, when there was better orientation and the possibility of Nigerians knowing that, okay, you could actually work from home, we're able to get some projects here and there. We're just resuscitating. We've been able to finish the project at the council chambers, which was a major project for us, which took almost the whole of last year. We're beginning to have prospects here and there because people are now beginning to yes, but we just never thought it was something that was readily available. I'm trying, I think, since 2020. Once we get that, it will help a lot because this.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Aisha, for that wonderful package there. Gold prices steadied in early trade this Thursday with concerns over high inflation offsetting expectations of an aggressive interest rate hike by the U.S. Federal Reserve. Let's see the prices of commodities on the global market. The challenge of access to finance for MSMEs in Nigeria has increased the search for solutions, particularly looking at innovative sources of financing for the sector. Records show at the end of 2020, only less than 1% of total bank loans were disbursed to MSMEs in Nigeria. To this end, the nation's apex bank, insurance regulators, credit bureaus, collateral registry and other stakeholders in the financial services sector are working to change the narrative by unlocking a potential $2 billion per annum in financing to MSMEs through factoring.
SMEs are able to have access to working capital. Okay, they're able to have access to short-term liquidity. They're able to have access to cash to use for businesses. What that means is that it's more business for them. What that means for Nigeria is that more production. What that means for Nigeria is that growth comes to the Nigerian economy.
The Pan-African Private Sector Trade and Investment Committee, PAFTRAC, has announced the launch of the second edition of its Africa CEO Trade Survey. The focus this year will be on the opportunities being created by the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA agreement. The AfCFTA agreement creates the largest free trade area in the world by the number of countries participating and other which trading commenced in January 2021. The participation of the private sector is crucial to the success of the AfCFTA. The Africa CEO Trade Survey is an initiative by PAFTRAC that provides the continent's private sector a platform to engage on localized and Pan-African trade policies. The survey results are presented in a report format that seeks to advocate private sector views to inform policy reform and shape the future of African trade. Last year's survey spanned 46 countries and welcomed responses from over 400 African CEOs. And so we move to the Nigerian stock market, which is opened this morning, but let's update you on how the market closed yesterday. Stocks declined marginally at the end of trade midweek, just a day after it recorded slight gains. At the close of yesterday's trade, the all-share index stood at 46,760.16 basis points. Market capitalization also declined marginally to 25.212 trillion naira. 261.5 million shares were traded in 4,668 deals valued at 2.434 billion naira. Fidelity Bank, Transco, and Guarantee Holding Company were the most sought after stocks. We move to the global market where Boss Day Abel is bringing us all the updates.
Investors worldwide are keeping an eye on the fallout from China's tight COVID-19 controls as it battles another surge in cases, potentially further disrupting global supply chains. They are also awaiting details of a new round of Western sanctions against Russia after evidence emerged of potential war crimes in Ukraine. Asia-Pacific market fell this Thursday following 2 days of declines on Wall Street. The Nikkei 225 in Japan fell 1.69%. The Shanghai Composite was down 1.42%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index slipped 0.97%. European market advanced as volatility continued, following details of the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary tightening plans and the ongoing war in Ukraine. The DAX in Germany nudged 0.28% higher in early trade, with Francis CAC 40 gaining 0.66%, while London FTSE dropped 0.13%. U.S. stock futures were flat in overnight trading after a 2-day losing streak for the major averages. Futures on the futures were little changed. African markets are seen opening lower this Thursday. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 is already down by 0.36%. Namibia's overall index slips 0.02%, while the rest of the markets are yet to post numbers. Boss said Able, Business Express.
Thank you, Boss Today. And we move to the currency market to just see how the Naira is exchanging for the major currencies. And this is the much we have for you this morning. Thank you for being a part of the program. Don't forget you can access all previous episodes on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on all our social media platforms. We value your feedback, so keep them coming in, the questions, comments, and suggestions. Do join us again Friday at 3 p.m. for another package. My name is Leah Kateng Babatunde, saying God bless Nigeria and be safe out there.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment.